I knew I didn't fit in the moment I stepped through the gate. Their estate had a name, Wrenwood, not a number. A name. That was the kind of wealth we were dealing with. Hand-carved oak doors. A driveway longer than the block I grew up on. Even their dog had a trainer. His name was Giles. Not the dog, the trainer. Sienna squeezed my hand as we walked up the steps. "Just smile," she whispered. "You always say that before I'm about to walk into traffic." I muttered. The door opened before I could think of a better exit plan. Camilla Marlowe floated out like she'd been born in a Chanel catalog. Her perfume hit first, something citrusy, expensive, and distant. She didn't hug. She air-kissed. Twice. Then came Philip. All navy blazer, Rolex, and resting banker face. He gave me a firm handshake and a colder look. "So, this is Liam," he said, like Sienna had brought home a puppy from the shelter. "Nice to meet you. What is it you do again?" "Mobile apps," I said. "I run my own platform." "Ah, tech. How modern." Then came Tristan, Sienna's older brother. Ivy League smirk. Tan, polo-clad, already tipsy. "Hey, man," he said, fist bumping me like we were frat brothers. "Sienna told us you're self-made. Love that. What, like crypto?" I didn't answer. Not worth the energy. The table was already set on the back patio. 10 seats, all perfectly measured like someone had used a ruler and a mood board. Every napkin had a gold monogram. I felt like I was dining at Versailles. Next to me sat Harper, a cousin who wore sunglasses through the entire meal and casually mentioned her fourth nose job between courses. Across from me was Uncle Renford, who ran something called a heritage consultancy and spoke only in metaphors. "Marriage, Liam," he said mid-sip of vintage Burgundy, "is a vineyard. You plant early, prune wisely, and if you're patient, the fruit will outlive the farmer." I had no idea what that meant, but he said it like it had weight. Then the conversation turned. As I knew it would, Camilla leaned forward and touched Sienna's wrist. "Darling, have you thought about what last name you'll take? Marlowe carries certain recognitions, and branding is everything these days." "We're keeping Archer," Sienna said. Calm, direct. "It's Liam's name, and I'm proud of it." You could feel the chill across the table. Philip cleared his throat. "I just hope this isn't impulsive. You've always been spirited, Sienna, but marriage isn't like your art school years." "I'm not marrying a trend," she snapped. "I'm marrying a man." That was the moment I knew she was all in. And the moment I knew I wasn't just fighting for a place at this table. I was standing between her and them. I kept my head down the rest of the meal. I complimented the lamb. I laughed when Harper joked about her ex-fiancé being allergic to commitment and shellfish. I thanked Philip for the wine he barely acknowledged. But every word, every look, I logged it. When dessert came, Tristan leaned over with a smug grin. "Seriously though, bro," he whispered, "what's your end game? You really think you're ready to swim with this kind of shark tank?" I didn't answer him. I looked over at Sienna. Her hand was on my knee. She wasn't smiling, but her eyes told me everything I needed to know. I wasn't here for their approval. I was here for her. And if they wanted a performance from the boy who got lucky, I'd give them one. Just not today. The proposal wasn't elaborate. No helicopter, no fireworks, no photographers hiding in trees. Just the two of us in a quiet cabin upstate. Snow falling outside like a movie cliche. I held out the ring. My hand didn't shake. Hers did. She cried and said yes. We stayed in that moment for a while. Just us. No noise. No judgment. No family. Then we came back to reality. The first congratulations came with a delay. Camilla clutched her pearls, literally, and forced a brittle smile. "So soon, darling? You two haven't even traveled together properly. Seen the world." Translation: "Are you sure this isn't just lust wrapped in a Pinterest board?" Philip took me aside that evening with the kind of seriousness usually reserved for stock market crashes. "Look, Liam," he began, sipping a $600 glass of disappointment. "Marriage is a business partnership, among other things. We'd feel much better if you and Sienna signed a prenup. No offense, of course. course. Tristan just chuckled and clapped me on the back. Man, I give a year tops. But hey, bachelor parties are fun, just saying. Every dinner became a tribunal. Where will you live? Do you really think you're ready for this kind of life? She's always been emotional. You know how she gets when she falls too fast. He's got charm, I'll give him that. But charm doesn't pay property taxes. I never raised my voice. Never took the bait. I played the humble guy. The wild is a lucky, she says, routine. The small-town tech guy who just wanted to marry the girl of his dreams. They mistook manners for weakness. They didn't see what was happening behind my eyes. Every insult was a file neatly stored. Every smug laugh, a timestamp. Every warning to Sienna, whispered when they thought I couldn't hear. Fuel to the fire. Because here's the thing about patience. It makes revenge taste better. While they scrambled to push back the date, let's wait until after the gallery show. Maybe take a long engagement. Give everyone time to adjust. I nodded politely and said we consider it. Behind the scenes, I was planning the wedding. And something else. Something tailored. Personal. Surgical. The kind of twist you don't see coming until the music stops. I wasn't marrying into the Marlowes. I was inviting them into my story. And they were going to play their roles beautifully. So, yeah, go ahead. Keep talking. Say your little lines. Make your little digs. You won't even see the spotlight until it's on your face. They didn't just plan the wedding. They engineered it like a corporate merger. The venue? Her father's sprawling country estate, overlooking rolling hills, with enough marble to make Versailles blush. The guest list? Hand-picked by the Marlowes, filled with polished handshakes, double cheek kisses, and people who called Sienna darling, but couldn't remember where she went to school. Even the napkins had the family crest embroidered in gold thread. Gold thread, for God's sake. Sienna tried. In the beginning, she mentioned a smaller ceremony, maybe something by the lake where we first kissed. They smiled politely, then steamrolled her. That's sweet, but this is a Marlowe wedding. There's tradition. We simply must invite the Leightonhales. They were devastated not to be at your cousin's wedding. It's not just about you, sweetheart. It's about the family legacy. And me, I played along. I helped her mother pick between two shades of white tablecloths, even though they were identical. I let her father tell me, twice, how to tie my bow tie like a man. I nodded during the wine tasting, as if I cared whether the '06 Bordeaux had notes of dried cherry and moral superiority, because I knew something they didn't. While they were obsessing over which flower petals should be tossed down the aisle, I was setting the stage. See, the trick with people like them is, let them think they're winning. Let them think you're overwhelmed. Outsmarted. Let them mock your background behind closed doors, whisper about how Sienna could have done better, and raise their eyebrows when I walk into a room. Well, he's charming, I'll give him that. A bit plain, though, isn't he? Still not sure what he does for work. Exactly. Oh, I heard it all, and I never flinched, because I wasn't interested in arguing. I was interested in timing. I worked with the AV team behind the scenes, paid out of my own pocket, told them we'd surprise the bride with a nostalgic photo montage after the best man speech, told them it was deeply personal, and it was just not in the way they expected. They didn't see me switch out the USB. They didn't ask about the projector settings. They had no idea that at exactly 8:45 p.m., the music would pause, the lights would dim, and their carefully polished world would shatter in front of 200 witnesses. Until then, I smiled. I posed for photos. I laughed at Camilla's bad jokes. I let Philip give me that engraved watch and call me son. They thought they were the puppet masters. But I was the stagehand, the writer, the man behind the curtain. And they gave me everything I needed, an audience, a setting, and most importantly, a reason. Let them eat their gold-dusted cake. Because the real event wasn't on the invitation. It was queued up 6 minutes long and waiting patiently in the shadows. The reception glittered. Crystal glasses clinked. Strings played something elegant and forgettable. Waiters floated by with oysters balanced like jewels on trays. I watched Sienna glow under fairy lights, Her smile real for the first time that day. She thought the worst was over. So did they. Camilla stood to give her toast. To Sienna and Liam, she began, voice syrupy sweet, proof that love doesn't care about background or balance sheets. That got a polite chuckle from the room. Camilla loved pretending to be edgy when she knew everyone was on her side. May their future be bright, she continued, raising her glass, and their goals be upwardly mobile. Laughter again, mostly from the table where her brother Tristan sat. I heard him lean over to Philip and mutter under his breath, "At least she didn't marry a bartender." They both laughed. I smiled. Then I stood. "May I say a few words?" A hush fell. I wasn't expected to speak. Not tonight. Not here. I just wanted to thank the Marlowes for opening their home and their hearts, for letting me feel like part of the family, even when I clearly wasn't always seen as a fit. Nervous titters. I know I didn't grow up with estate grounds or wine cellars or family crests embroidered on napkins, but I brought what I could, love for your daughter, and something for tonight. I nodded to the AV tech. The lights dimmed. Confusion rippled through the room. The screen flickered to life. Not with our engagement photos or baby pictures. Not even the placeholder slideshow Camilla helped Sienna prepare. No, this was something else. Black screen, white text, behind closed doors. Then audio, clear, cold, and cruel. Camilla, he probably Googled which fork to use. Philip, he'll always be a renter. Doesn't matter what he drives. Tristan, if he ever touches our family trust, I'll end him. Camilla again, we all know he's just a well-dressed social climber. Gasps. The camera cut to Camilla's face, wide-eyed pale. She glanced at the guests around her, frozen mid-sip, and then the shift. Clips of Liam, me, on stage at tech conferences, accepting awards, standing beside angel investors. A Forbes headline, the quiet mind behind the $42 million app exit. Screenshots of wire transfers, his portfolio, private equity deals, clips from CNBC, Bloomberg, a whisper of audio. He could have retired at 28. He chose not to. Silence felt like glass shattering on marble. I stepped forward again as the screen faded to black. To those who question my worth, thank you. You reminded me why I built what I did in silence. I didn't marry into wealth tonight. I let it sit at my table so it could finally see what real class looks like. I raised my glass. No one toasted back. Not even Camilla. Sienna, though, Sienna had tears in her eyes. Not sad ones. She reached for my hand under the table. And for the first time that night, I held it proudly. Because this wasn't just revenge. It was truth, dressed in a tux. We didn't stay the night. I think we both knew, the second the video ended and the room dropped into stunned silence, that nothing about this wedding was going to feel like a celebration anymore. Sienna didn't say a word when I gently took her hand and nodded toward the door. She followed. Her heels clicked against marble. Her dress swept past shocked guests and ghost white faces. Her mother stared into her champagne, like it held a different outcome. Her father gripped the tablecloth, like it might steady his pride. No one tried to stop us. Outside, the cold air hit like clarity. I opened the passenger door for her. She slid in, veil half fallen, lipstick faded. She looked over at me, not angry, not embarrassed, just free. "You planned this the whole time, didn't you?" she asked softly. I started the engine. "I planned to tell the truth," I said. "It just needed the right venue." We drove in silence for a while, past the hedges, past the golden gates her father had custom welded to match the estate crest, past the people who never thought I belonged. And by the time we reached the city lights, her phone buzzed. "They're not calling," she whispered. "Not even my dad. Not even a scream." She stared down at her screen, then turned it to me. "Camilla, if you still care, you'll forgive us." I didn't even blink. "Do you?" Sienna asked. "Care." I pulled into a quiet lot and turned off the ignition. For a moment, I just looked at the dashboard lights reflecting off her wedding band. "I care enough not to answer," I said. Forgiveness isn't the same as forgetting. And silence. I looked over. Sometimes silence is the best revenge. She stared at me for a beat longer, then slowly smiled. No fireworks. No applause. No perfectly posed first dance photos to frame. Just a quiet goodbye to a family who had written me off long before they knew me. And a future I'd built, not by pleasing them, but by never needing their permission. The estate faded in the rear view, but the freedom, that came with us.